Welcome to Split the Defense.
Split the Defense.
LEAFS Postgame Edition. Split the Defense is presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004, serving the Kingston and surrounding areas. Alongside co-host Craig Pearce and producer Ted Evans, here's your host, Jordan Webster.
Leafs lose 4-1 because, of course, they lose 4-1. I hate losing to the Bruins.
Always.
That's 2 or 3 for the Bruins in the season series, but hey, at least no one got hurt. Welcome to Split the Defense, Leafs post game. Thumbs up this episode, subscribe to our YouTube, rate it 5 stars on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to, and leave us a comment. I'm here with CP and producer Ted in the booth. Lay it on me, CP. What can you take away from this one?
I don't know. This wasn't really a great game overall from the boys in blue. It was like they were able to kind of get the puck over the middle, get into the zone. Like Boston just basically broke up everything that was going to be an opportunity. You know, like they got some chances, but nothing that was like really, substantial. I don't know. It didn't come off like I'm now like afraid of the Bruins, like if we face them in the playoffs, but they played harder than the Leafs. The Leafs just couldn't get it going.
They did not get it going. The Leafs got owned on their first power play chance.
Oh my God.
Outworked by the Bruins PK, and Boston gave no room. Sticks and lanes, really jammed up the neutral zone. Effort is a word tossed around a lot, but do you think that it was a matter of effort tonight?
I mean, they definitely felt like the Boston Bruins brought more effort. I don't know. I wouldn't say that there was like a lack of effort from the Leafs. It just like you said, when like things were kind of going okay, and then they got the power play, and just it kind of just got out of hand from there. Like it almost looked like they were on the penalty kill for a moment, and then it was like just didn't really get it out of their zone much after that, and then by 2 minutes after that, the puck's in the net. So, or even if it was 2 minutes, so it just kind of from there it felt like they just didn't quite have it. Even Wall, he didn't have an awful game, but he just didn't have his best game. I wouldn't put it on him, but it just wasn't great.
So if you had to give a first star, who do you give a first star to tonight?
For the Leafs?
For the Leafs. It's a tough one. You can give it to a Bruin if you want to at this point.
No, I could never do that. I don't know. I still like the Benoit McCabe pair. I don't know. It was fine. I feel like we still have a pair there. We saw every other possibility of the other 4 together. So that wasn't great. But sure, let's give it combined to McCabe and Benoit, because I have to give it to someone.
Earned first star. Okay. Well, I don't mind giving anything to Benoit. I love that guy. Yeah. So it looks like Joe Woll is going to play the Bruins twice this week unless they switch things up, because we have Buffalo coming up Wednesday, Bruins again Thursday in Boston. So what are your feelings on that? Do you think we should be showing all our cards before going into the playoffs, or do you think it benefits Woll more than anything?
That's an interesting point about are you showing your cards, because we're assuming that Woll is going to be the goalie. There's a chance that he's not, but I honestly would just go the 50-50. I was happy that they went with Woll tonight, because even though Sammy was coming off just a pretty good performance on the weekend, I just feel like just because Woll got injured doesn't mean that his spot got taken away. And so he at least deserves a 50-50. And so I would just roll it. And yeah, it kind of sucks that he has to play the Bruins twice, but I think it's fine. I don't think that necessarily they're going to get anything on Woll. He's kind of just on his way back anyway. I'm willing to give him some slack for tonight based on just that. It's a second game, right? He's coming back from injury, and you're just not going to expect the best. So I would go with the 50-50 still.
So you were fine with his overall play tonight?
No, I wouldn't say it was great. I'm just giving him a break based on his history and that he's just come back. So if this was a Sammy performance, I would have a different tone. That's kind of how one goalie has built up a good graces and the other one hasn't. And I kind of ignore injury time. I know that it's been a while since he's been that goalie for us, and because he's been injured, but that's who he was. So I'm still kind of counting on that until he proves otherwise. And the good thing is we got some runway here. Is you go 50-50, and if you see more performances like he did today, then you question it. But I wouldn't say that that's what we're going to see from now on.
No. So at this point, I mean, the Leafs have won we'll say 8 of their last 10, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
Is it really, it's kind of hard to be upset with a team that's done so well in the last 2 weeks. So I'm really not taking too much from tonight. But I mean, we do have to attack where we can. And Willie is not doing his job out there. The last couple of games, he's been benched. He's been taken off of lines. He's getting a message sent. My biggest thing from Willie tonight was he was not attacking hard enough on the power play. He is way too complacent. He's passing the puck too much. He's not looking to take it in and create a shot. Where there was many times where he could have turned his hips, went towards the net, and made a chance for the Leafs. Instead, he was looking for the next guy open, trying to make that extra pass. And he himself is falling into some sort of Willie trap that falls around this time of year every year. But usually it's about a month and a half before this and leads in through the next month. We're getting into playoff time. Does that concern you at all? And do you think I'm wrong with seeing Willie not be up to his standards that we've seen for the rest of the season?
Well, you're definitely not wrong. Like, you see it, the coach sees it, I see it. He's definitely kind of in one of those slumps. And it's just all those things are just that he gets in trouble for kind of effort. Like, he's like the last game he was cheating to get a breakaway and ends up in the back of his net. So tonight, I didn't see exactly the exact play that he got in trouble for, but there was a couple like you're saying, he's not quite bringing it. So yeah, he's in a slump in a different time of year. I'm always kind of concerned about Willie. You never really know what you're gonna get, but you just know that he can bring the next level. So yeah, it's not a great performance from him. Hopefully, and typically when he gets benched once, it kind of kicks him out of the slump. That's been how he acted in the past. So back-to-back games and also just the team in general, they blew a lead and on the weekend, ended up getting the win, luckily, in the shootout. And then now just kind of not a great game. So I don't know. Hopefully we can bounce back to how it was the 8 or I guess it was 8 games before that.
Yeah, I wonder, was that the anomaly of it all, or is this the anomaly of it all, the way that they're playing when they play shitty, or is it going to keep up when they play well, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
So the last couple of games, the highest 5v5 tonight line was actually the John Tavares line by 3 seconds. But that makes the John Tavares line now back-to-back games since Calle Jarnkrok's been back, outplaying the second line of William Nylander, Max Domi, and Tyler Bertuzzi. How are you feeling about that Domi, Bertuzzi, Nylander line? Do you think it's going to stick together? Do you think we see Tavares and Nylander back together here pretty soon?
I don't know. I want it to stick. I like how they've separated everybody. Well, by everybody I mean Willie and Tavares. I think that it's a good premise, and so I think they should stick with it. The Domi at center with Willie, I think that's why they're kind of sending a message to Willie. It's because you have to be responsible on that line. You don't have someone like Tavares who's at least gonna have the right idea of where to be. Domi's a lot of the time quite confused out there. So I think that that's part of this. Willie has to be responsible because it's just a line that's going to give up chances if he's not. And
nobody plays defense on that line.
No, Bertuzzi's the best defenseman on that line, or defensive forward on that line. He's at least is pretty good in the neutral zone, puts in the effort blocking the puck. I don't know. I like the idea. Maybe it needs some tweaking, but I would hate to just go back to Tavares and Willie together. I'm just not sure. They've never been a match made in heaven. They forced it together, and yes, they're both great players, so it's going to work once in a while. But I just feel like that isn't going to work, and I would like this to go on for a little bit longer. And if we continues and the second line's a liability night in and night out, and they're not producing, then you're going to have to figure something out. Maybe
Is it
Domi
even the
has
second line anymore is the whole point of all this. Like, I don't even know if it is. I think it's now the de facto third line. I think because
Yeah,
of
sure.
their mistakes lately, they get deployed in offensive situations and we see them create and they still get close to the same minutes, but it's almost like having a 2A and a 2B because they're playing basically the same amount of lines or same amount of minutes within a few seconds. Like, I mean, tonight was 49 seconds apart or something like that. The other night was, a couple of shifts more, but you basically have a 2A and a 2B, a defensive 2 and an offensive 2. And I just wonder if they're going to keep rolling with that defensive, offensive, middle six kind of thing, or if we see that split up.
As long as it's a 2A and 2B and not a 3A and 3B, because like that's the
Then we have
problem.
no second line.
Yeah, because like I'd rather just have a second line if we're not going to have any, and there's just 2 third lines, because that's not going to be great. But I didn't feel though like they're like I don't know. It's hard for me to judge because I love the line. Like as I just love this concept, so I'm probably being a little more lenient on it than a typical like lineup that I would see. But yeah, the problem is that my only critique would be to that like Domi has to move off that, and like if I don't want Tavares to be the guy that goes in that spot, then like where's Domi gonna go? So I just like he should have been a winger on this team. He's just been forced into being a center, and now there's just zero spot for him to really be as a winger. So I don't know. He's kind of in a tough spot based on like that line has to do well, or else like they're probably going to find some other solution.
Probably. So Ilya Lyubushkin took a hard hit from Matt Rempe in the game against the Rangers. He was out for the rest of that game, played like 7.5 minutes with Riley. But he cleared concussion protocol, was back in this game. What are your feelings on his fit after his first full game back with the Leafs?
I like Lyubushkin. Like there was a couple times tonight where he didn't look so hot, but I think that he's a guy that makes the simple play, and he's really good at shutting down plays. Like when he gets into trouble is typically right around the net when he has to like make some sort of a stick play. But when there's a zone entry, like I want it to be on his side.
I noticed that tonight too. I did notice that tonight too. He shut down the zone. You could not get in on the left attacking side, but our right side. Yeah, he did really well at defending the zone entries. And you obviously that there's issues with him, but Ilya Lyubushkin has really good parts to his game that the Leafs need. Now it's just if we can bring out other parts of his game to be better, because we're going to need a better defender than him in that spot, or a better defender than who he's been in that spot going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not sure like there's any bringing anything out of Lyubushkin at this point. Like I think he is who he is.
You never know.
And like as a third pairing defenseman, I think he's perfect.
Know.
I guess you never know.
You never know.
Yeah, okay. But I think as he is at the moment, I think he's a great third pairing. It's just like we got to find. I think perfectly he would be a third pairing with Riley. It's just okay. Like, do we want to put Riley there? Like he's been kind of having a rough go. I think you want to make a better solution for Riley as a first pairing or second pairing. But I think as a third pair, Lyubushkin's perfect. He just hopefully doesn't get pushed up too hard, and a great penalty killer. Like that's something that like is always needed. So yeah.
So CJAI.CA gets 2 tonight, 1 on the power play, 1 not on the power play, 5v5. But it's all David Pastrnak.
Oh, yeah.
That guy is still so fucking good. I don't know what the Bruins are doing here. They were open and saying that like they might not be pushing to make the playoffs this year, but like it's kind of hard to not when you have these guys. And then you get this merry band of men, and they perform the way they do, and they're still second in the division, and we're leading for a whole bunch of the season. It's crazy to see that David Pastrnak may be on a team that's going to be rebuilding, and obviously he's not going to be going anywhere. He signed a big contract.
Yeah, this is where it proves that like having a team mentality matters, and it lasts generations, because like this was built by like Chara, like that's the thing, is like he's been long gone for a long time. And like now that the guys that he passed it on to, Bergeron and Krejci, like now they're gone. but they taught it enough to the guys in the lineup, and now it's Marchand and Pasternak coming into his prime, and so they're still able to pull off like a good lineup, even though they have struggled like in the last couple weeks. But yeah, like they just find someone. Like I still doubt CJAI.CA. Like that guy's never going to be on my fantasy team because like I just don't think he's very good. But he then he scores too. So like
Performs.
Yeah, I don't know what it is there.
Can you believe Jake DeBrusk makes $4 million? Like for something. There's a 4 at the start of that.
Yeah, I know.
That guy's a player. He's gonna make 7 next year. Like,
well, like, and anyone could have had him for. Like, he just wanted out basically with Boston like a year ago. I remember was that too, but like a year ago. So yeah, it's kind of crazy how things can change. And like I don't think anyone doubted he wasn't like a good player. Like he just wasn't being utilized properly. And the
nasty goal tonight, though. Nasty goal tonight by DeBrusk.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he ends up in maybe Vancouver because he is a Western boy, and there were talks about that. And then,
I wouldn't hate that.
It's a possibility. Yeah. So we have to take a look at Timothy Liljegren, talking about the defense.
Yeah.
Timothy Liljegren tonight was on for 2 goals. He had the lowest expected goals for percentage on the team. He was on for 4 of 8 high danger chances when there was like a couple minutes left in the game. If there was more high danger chances, forgive me for not checking into that. It was already over. But Timmy Lil had a rough night. Do we maybe need to put Lyubushkin on the second, Timmy Lil on the third, and still find a first, or maybe get a second? What are your thoughts on Timothy Liljegren in these last couple of games? He's had a rough go.
Well, like since adding Lyubushkin, I now feel like we have 2 third pairing right defensemen. So like they seem like the guys, if we're keeping all the defensemen and we're adding another one, the added one's going above both those guys in the depth charts. And so now you're probably just like flipping out Liljegren and Lyubushkin based on what you want in the lineup or who's playing well. So that's what I think he is. He had played really, really well for a long time. And I think he still does look good with Brody, as long as like that's not your shutdown pair. I think they were playing a little bit over their heads for a while. So
are we going to see Timothy Liljegren not playing game 1 of the playoffs again?
Like there's a scenario where he's not on the team and he's turned into an asset going out the door if we're bringing in a because like he has value.
If you want a true upgrade, I think that's probably the way you're going to have to go, is dealing a guy like Timothy Liljegren. Like you don't want to, and because he's got potential to be better, but like if you want a true clear upgrade, you're probably going to have to move him out as an asset and replace his spot, and then you might get a true number 1. The plan the whole time for Timothy Liljegren was to be the number 1 next to Riley, and it just hasn't panned out.
Yeah. Just like Sandin was supposed to be like the next Riley. It like didn't pan out.
I know. Remember there was a time we spoke about Sandin. We don't need Riley. We don't need to give him a contract because we've got Rasmus Sandin. He can just take over that spot.
I really hope I was not on that train, but yeah, I do remember those conversations for sure.
Those conversations were had, brother.
Yep, I know.
So what else you got on this game, CP? That's it for me.
I guess like the whistle guy. Friggin' this is like Whistlegate tonight. There is 2 times in the first period that they blew down like an extra attacker opportunity after a drawn penalty, right? And then there was another, like even when I wrote it down, there was
like last game too.
Yeah, and there was another play where the dude just blows his whistle for no reason. Oh, it was the puck's behind the goalie and Bert has the easy chance to tap it in. Same guy blowing his whistle.
Is that Eric Furlat? I'm pretty sure he was doing that tonight. I took the name I should not know.
I don't care about refs enough to know their names.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. But yeah, I just thought that was like I don't know. It's funny because he apologized, but at the same time, it's just like, I feel like they need to add time to our power play now. Like, there's at least 10 seconds there. Like, probably more, and the one was at the end of a period. So, like, they could have done the extra attacker to, like, maybe the end of the period or, 10 seconds. And then you have, like, a full power play going into the next. But instead, it's like a minute 10 power play, which is basically, it's like the most worthless power play ever. You might as well have 30 seconds because, you just can't get anything going, I find. But yeah, I don't know. Other than
Yeah.
that, though, I think we hit everything else.
So Toronto starts first half of a back-to-back against Buffalo on Wednesday before facing the Bruins again on Thursday. Who starts, and do you schedule this loss right now?
I don't like this guy. Like, even tonight, I actually wasn't very confident going into tonight. But I think that who starts, I think I go back to Sammy just for like to Buffalo, and then you got Wall again against Boston. I think that's just how Keefe seems to. If he was going by his typical plan, we would have seen Sammy tonight, because typically he just goes with whoever's going. And it was kind of, Sammy had only played one game since having a break, so like he could have gone tonight. So I think this is like their scheduled goaltending now, and so that's just how it'll go, back and forth, back and forth. I think that maybe we'll see a bounce back from the team, because like normally when we have a performance like this where it's a little bit of an effort base, I think we typically see them come back. Like that's been how it is. So hopefully that's what we see. But yeah,
There's so many chances tonight that it could have been shifted into a Leafs win. The first goal of the game could have been William Nylander passing to Bertuzzi right in the slot. They just missed. There was another tip that went just wide, and then Matthew Nyes off his stick. Could have been a 2-2 game at that point. Could have looked a lot different tonight. I don't know how much of it was effort. They played a really good team in the Boston Bruins, and there's going to be a playoff matchup. Like this had playoff vibes to it. This is going to be the two teams more than likely that face each other in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I don't know how much I want to say effort was involved in that, and I just don't know. I don't know. I wonder if there was a little bit of a high of switching the lines around and he got a spark, kind of like the new coach thing. And I wonder if they just kind of revert back into a pumpkin against playing a shitty team in Buffalo, because Buffalo's not having a good year. And Buffalo notoriously likes to beat the shit out of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So
honestly, if tomorrow looking back at this game, the only thing I'm going to remember is that the Leafs couldn't get anything going in the middle of the ice. And so I feel like that's what always seems to be their problem in playoffs, is that they can get the puck in, they can move it around a bit, but when it really matters to get it in the middle of the ice to get an opportunity, that's when they have trouble. So yeah, that's, I think, when, it's going to loosen up against Buffalo. They're not that kind of a team. So I would expect it to be a little bit more free flowing, and we'll see maybe a more exciting game than you might expect, but we'll see.
Hopefully. I need it for my fantasy stats. So big week this week. Got lots of Leafs on my team. I need them to perform.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's a wrap for this episode. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for commenting. Hit that like button, subscribe on YouTube. Please rate and review us. Find us on X at STDP Hockey, and search for Split the Defense on all other socials. Until next time, peace.
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 Thanks for tuning in to Split the Defense,
Split the defense.
Leafs Postgame Edition. Hosted by Jordan Webster, Craig Pearce, and producer Ted Evans. Split the Defense is presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004, serving the Kingston and surrounding areas.